Okay, then I'm going to call this meeting to order on August 18th of the City Council. Aaron, do you want to do a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Reardon,
Here.
Councilmember Cirque,
Here.
Mayor Gunselman,
Here.
Councilmember Swift,
Here.
Councilmember Feist.
Here. Can you all join me for the pledge?
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to open a public forum. At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on items not appearing on the agenda. Comments may not exceed 5 minutes, and in accordance with state law, however, no action or discussion may take place on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. Would anyone care to address the council on an item not on the agenda? Okay. Tom, did you want to let Bev know before your report?
Sure, we can do that.
We'll go ahead and skip Tom and go to our presentations. We have Beth Stanton from the Interfaith Food Bank.
You know, it's not glamorous and wonderful, and it's well, it's pretty wonderful, but it's not exciting stuff at the food bank. But we are busy. We are at about 1,951 families right now, and that's 4,794 individuals. So that's about 16% of the county's population. Of that, we have, we don't see a lot of unhoused people, not that we don't want to see them. We simply, they don't come up and see us. What we see are families that live in this county and work in this county and just have a difficult time making ends meet. We have had such support from the county for the last 9 years that I know of. We have, people just seem to give, and it gets worse and they give more. And what we're looking for right now more than anything are volunteers. We just need help. Our organization, and Dan, you can relate to that, our organization really, we have to have our volunteers. And after COVID, which everybody seems to never want to stop talking about, although it's 5 years old, we didn't get a lot of our volunteers back. I think people went home for 6 or 8 months and said, hey, this is kind of nice. I think I'll just not do anything anymore. But we did lose a lot. So what we would ask for, what we would like to have more than anything is volunteers. Volunteers and just boots on the ground and people that notice. If you notice that your friends or your neighbors seem to be struggling, if you know someone near you that you know is having a hard time, pride is our biggest obstacle. We have plenty of food. We have a wonderful stream of produce, if you haven't heard. We've worked really hard the last 9 years to get ourselves inserted in a position within the state of California that they don't just push us aside anymore. They recognize us, and we don't ask for more than we need, but we do believe that it's imperative that we get our fair share, and we do now, because there's just a lot of stuff available to food banks, and the big food banks kind of swallow it up. So getting a voice for the rural and remotes has been a really good thing for us. I would like to say thank you to the Sutter Creek Police Department because they are always there when we need them. And this is an opportunity for me to do that. So I'm going to just take that real quick and shout it right out. I don't have a lot else. If there's anything that you have, if you have any questions for me, I would really welcome that. No burning questions?
I have a quick one. So on the volunteers, is it a thing where somebody can just show up, or do you need to train somebody and have them come regularly?
We don't have to train you per se, but we do like to know if you want to commit to 1 day a month or 1 day a week. 2 hours a week is a wonderful thing. When we know people are coming, it makes it a lot easier for us because we're able to plan that way. And we do have a pretty lean staff, and the staff works incredibly hard.
Do you get a lot of students or?
We do. We do. We get, they all come for their mandatory hours that they have to have. And we also get a lot of help from probation, which is really nice because I think that's a good place for people to think about their lives. And it puts things in perspective, that's for sure. We did sign up 37 new families in July and 41 new families in June. And so it's not slowing down at all. Compared to 2024, we're already just about, I think we're 200 families shy of where we were at the very end of 2024. And characteristically, October through December are our busiest months. And that's when we can really anticipate a huge spike in what we do with Project Thanks coming up.
Right.
We're planning for that already.
Beth, what kind of duties can the volunteers do for you?
We would love to have somebody that has always wanted to drive a Kenworth truck, drive our truck down to Manteca on Fridays. It's a beautiful truck, absolutely beautiful truck. We got a steal of a deal on it. Rayleigh's purchased it and it didn't work for them, so we were able to get it. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful truck. My husband's a truck driver and he loves to drive it. He's like, "You want me to take the Kenworth today?" I said, "No." Thanks for asking. But it's a great truck. And we always need somebody to drive that. That was Rich Hoffman's job for us. And he said now that the Fair Foundation has decided that he's pretty important and they need him, he can't come every Friday anymore. So we need that. We need people to fill grocery bags and take them out to people and so people can put them in their cars. We need people to sit at the computer and do intake. We need people to just bag bags of groceries and get them ready to go into the carts. There's a million things that we need. And specifically, we need help at our thrift store. And our thrift store seems like that would be not as important as the food bank, but it's very important because the thrift store's revenue pays 75% of the food bank's budget. So if the thrift store doesn't make what it needs to make, we don't have our budget. We're just in big trouble. People don't want to donate to you and know they're paying your PG&E bill or somebody's salary.
Yeah.
So we always need help there. And you can do anything there. You can go through cool and really neat and unique things that people give us. You can run a cash register. You can walk around on the floor and make sure things are in order. There's just a million things that you can do there. And you can pretty much do anything you want because you're volunteering.
Great.
Tom, would it be possible and or appropriate to put something in our newsletters or social media to just?
Yeah, I was already
kind of
making
a
a
heads
note to
up?
do that,
Yeah,
to ask for volunteers soon.
Yeah.
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 that would be wonderful. Volunteers, bags, and egg cartons. Those are the things we need the most.
Oh, really? Oh.
We don't have bags anymore. And people don't bring them, even though we threaten to just put everything in their trunk and let it roll around, which we don't.
Paper
But
bags.
we just need bags. The bags you get from the grocery store and pile up. We got a grant last year and I bought about 12,000 cloth bags, but they're not great bags, but they're okay. And we've given those out we're giving those out this month and next month and letting people know after that, if we don't have bags, we don't have bags. Because our produce all comes in bulk, so we have to bag all that up.
Yeah.
And it's not possible. And the stores just don't have them like they used to.
Where does the other 25% of your funding come from?
The government.
Like county mostly, or?
No, we don't actually get a lot of money from the county. We've gotten a couple of really great grants in the last couple of years, which have been amazing for us. But the bulk of our money comes from USDA with the TFAP or the Emergency Food Assistance Program. and they reimburse us for handing out the free food that they give us. So it's just a win-win for us. But it doesn't pay us back a lot, but it pays us something and we'll take it.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Good to say about your landlord up there?
No, I was trying really
Yeah,
hard to come up with
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Our landlord is lovely. He's such a fix-it man.
right.
He's a
Stop,
walks
stop.
walks in his own dad's shoes, I'll tell you. Very good.
Did anyone in the audience have a question or a comment?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah,
Of course.
agree.
That's-
And as the landlord, I would second that. You do a great job and I know how hard you work.
Thank you. Not very many people. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. I have a really, really wonderful staff and they work really hard all the time. It's been a little crazy. We were laughing the other day because our cars typically go from our parking lot on Airport Road and they go almost up to the GSA. And the sheriff came by it and he said, "Can you get these cars going?" I go, "Can you come and get these cars going?" That's what you do, not me. But it was just kind of funny. But we have been, it's tough. It's a tough, tough thing. But we've been really fortunate and we're okay. People keep saying, are you going to make it through this year? Are you going to be all right? Is it going to work? And yeah, we are because we're really, really cheap and tight. And I find really good ways to buy food. So we have food. We don't want people not to come to the food bank because they think we don't have enough food, because we do have enough food and we want to give it out, especially seniors. Seniors are just wonderful and they should have everything.
Beth, I used to work there years ago, actually under Tom Thompson. Do you still do the site distributions at like the senior center and
We do.
the Sutter Creek Apartments?
We
And
do. And as a matter of fact, we have, I think we have 10 sites that we go to now, but speaking of the county, we got the community block grant a couple years ago, 3 years ago, I think, which we never get.
Right.
We don't ask for it, but we've never gotten it before. And we did get it. And we had a food truck built and you may have seen it. It's hard to miss if it's out and about, but it's got refrigerators and freezers and a generator. So we take that out to the sites and we've just had great success with it. We don't have a driver for it right now. We're working on that. Our driver left, but it's a beautiful truck and it does great things. We also have a few sites that come and pick up food and hold a site themselves, a distribution. And we're actually going to have another one of those at the mobile home park up on Sutter Hill. We have one of our board members has a friend that lives there and she's going to come. And all it takes is for somebody to say, "Yes, I promise I'll come once a month and I'll pick that stuff up and I'll take it to the distribution. I'll set it up and I'll be responsible for the paperwork," which is nothing. It's basically signatures. That's all it takes to have a site somewhere. If you know there's a place that could use a distribution once or twice a month, we'll set you up if you can get the manpower. It's always about the manpower.
It's great.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a
Thank
good
you.
night. And again, thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks, Beth.
Hey, Tom, tough show to follow.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try. That was great. But I do have a lot to tell you guys about. Is that okay? Yeah, so kind of going back to our annual priorities, in terms of improving roadways, we had a meeting at 5 o'clock with the local sales tax oversight committee to talk about an item on your agenda tonight. Cut to the chase, it was all thumbs up, but we'll talk about it later tonight. We also, ACTC had a call for new projects. and Dan, WGA, we put together 3 new projects, which we submitted, which was Spanish Street, Sutter Hill, and Church Street. And at the same time, I talked to Dominic and ACTC. And, when we had the fire on Main Street was blocked. So I said we needed additional evacuation routes. So we got Spanish Street to be an evacuation route, as well as Sutter Hill, which helps these streets score on ACTC's criteria. So it was very helpful. And I don't know if Dan may have an update later tonight in council member comments, but again, I think looking at the scoring criteria and the condition of our roads, that's a positive thing for potentially for some money. And then also kind of related to Broadway, but more generally, Dan's spending a lot of time working through permits with AWA. Again, they have several streets that they have leaky pipes that they want to fix. And so we're kind of negotiating when and where, and they have rules for how much their money will cover in terms of paving. But we're trying to get as much paved as we can through that process. In terms of the budget, we got a lot of efficiency improvements this year. So, you've heard about the Tyler financials and rolling that out for utility billing. Right now, we're testing timesheets and some of their HR functions. Again, moving away from paper and having people submit those electronically. And again, I just want to highlight for you that we implemented this in 6 months from pretty much January through June. It typically takes about a year. And again, Mason is still alive, but barely. But it really was a lot of work and a lot of change. And now, staff is learning these new systems and people are taking online classes. And it seems like things are going pretty smoothly. We've seen a few minor hiccups and things we have to tweak, but it's gone really well. Will's here in the back tonight. He's working on a T-Mobile grant for the Monteverde Museum. Again, we have a wall there that's been destroyed by rainwater in the floor, and I've been worried about that building. So we're trying to get some funds just to get that fixed. And we're also working on the facility rental changes. So we're delaying going with the software company we told you guys about until we get some of our pricing and kind of configuration stuff in order. So taking a month or so to work on that internally. And then we also have a IT switch in progress. I think you guys all got new email passwords. That's going to save us on licensing costs. And I also believe it'll make us more efficient once everybody's over. And this is a screenshot of the new timesheet system. And then a lot of things going on in wastewater. I sent you guys a copy last week of the Water Board Joint Balance Memo. So that completed the work that the Water Board asked IOM, ARSA, and CDCR to complete. We've been meeting every other week as a group to work on that thing. We had a meeting with the Water Board a couple of weeks ago, and then we submitted it. The next step is really talking about solving the problems, and a lot of those are going to be individually. So ION needs more disposal capacity. CDCR is looking at building more land application areas, and we're talking about a new wastewater plant. And so there will continue to be meetings with the Water Board and individually, and I think jointly as we work on this over years. But right now there's a good working relationship with everybody, and happy that process is over. And again, Hydro Sciences was a big help on this. And then we had a group meet and interview the submissions for the wastewater treatment plant. We did separate days. We did, I think it was 3 to 4 hour meeting where they presented their proposals. We asked a lot of questions. And then we scored those things, and Schneider Electric was the preferred choice. And so we are working with them on a legal agreement. Pretty rapid schedule. It's a legal contract and a statement of work that would come to council on September 18th. So that's a big milestone. Hydrosciences looked out in the marketplace and found what they felt was a well-negotiated agreement that we're using as the base for ours. You know, it was a larger water district that spent I can't remember if it was like a year on their agreement only. So we really felt it was fairly balanced and trying to leverage a lot of it. And so now Derek and another person at his firm are kind of going through it and double checking it. And then the I&I work, I know you guys have probably seen the roads closed. Greenstone Terrace is done. Old 49 still being worked on. Raylan and Dennis are being worked on. And then there's a couple other little spots. I said into Spanish Street. This is by Hotel Sutter, kind of that alley. And there's some spots. It's not really on Eureka Street, but behind one of the buildings there. And you can see some photos here. That's how low Henderson is now. And I haven't seen Preston, but Corey says they're both the emptiest he's ever seen them.
Really?
And then some of this is the storm drain work happening. And then that road there is the repaving Greenstone Terrace after the sewer line work was completed. And then
Before you move on,
Yep.
About Henderson, the picture with the gangway and the control valve there,
Yep.
is that the control valve for the under drain?
Yeah.
And is that
wanna
being
jump in?
replaced also? I know it's been
It's not
iffy
being
for a long
replaced.
time.
It's not being replaced, but we're having a rep come out and look at it with us because we don't feel like it operates. It doesn't seal all the way on the bottom.
Yeah, I've heard that. I know there's been problems with it in the past.
Yeah, we're not sure if it's the valve or it's the linkages or what's going on.
Okay.
So we have a guy coming out.
I just want to make sure that it's getting addressed while that this have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so is the under drain underwater right now, or is it above the water line?
Well, it's about 8 feet of sludge right now. So
Okay.
we're trying to get that out currently.
Okay. And this also, it seems, would be an excellent opportunity to get the most accurate understanding of how much sludge there is, because it's always been, like I said, I've never seen the water that low.
Yeah, there's a concrete box there, so we know how much sludge is in that part, but then once it goes out there, it drops down into the middle. So we don't know how deep all of Henderson is, but yeah, we know in that box now how deep it is. And we're building a little berm outside of there to keep the sludge out. And then we're going to pump it outside of it.
Okay.
So that's our plan right now, and we'll see. It's happening today and this
Good.
week.
Okay.
I think there is more sludge than we estimated.
Oh, okay. That's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
What are the
In
repercussions
the
of that?
ballpark or what the estimates?
Yeah, I don't know how we measure it or what we can do while it's low, but yeah, we'll talk to engineers to see if we can get anything useful. The other thing is we're going to try to do some maintenance on the pier internally ourselves while it's exposed like this. See some corrosion on some of the bars and that kind of stuff.
Great.
Has construction started? Is Campbell up there now?
That's kind of a tricky. So officially, the jurisdiction of DSOD construction has not started. That starts next week.
Okay.
But there is equipment on site, and we are building the berm right now. So
Okay.
we're trying to remove the sludge right now to get access, I guess,
see.
is how you'd say it.
Yeah.
Where does the sludge go? What do you do with the sludge?
Back into the dam. You just push it over to the other side.
We're just creating an area to do work.
We could take it out, but it's just expensive and there's no reason. I mean, it's sludge on the other side.
So again, the Department of Dam Safety has to be on site while all this is happening, and it's all kind of highly regulated. So there's a lot of coordination going on.
Yeah.
So the box, the concrete box is not directly below the pier there?
It is.
It is.
That,
Yeah, you can't
spot.
really see it. It's like
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of like directly behind the pier right there.
okay,
And it's very on the bottom. And so there's like gates that come down too, like wooden
Okay.
gates that come down. We don't know if those are actually working either.
okay,
Those are supposed to keep the sludge out and then let a little bit of water come through. So
okay,
we're gonna look into that too.
great. Thank you.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I will.
And then on the economic development front, Will and I, there was a thing called the Summit in San Andreas last week. The state treasurer was there, a bunch of organizations all around supporting small business. So we're starting to try to start networking and kind of find out what programs are out there, what can help Sutter Creek. We're also going to submit for this USC Sunstone Economic Development Challenge. They pick 5 cities a year and you get grad students to come help you on your economic development strategy. So I've talked to the guy that runs the program. He thought we had a fair shot. So we're going to give it a go. I also want to let you guys know, this has been going on for quite a while. Not really a council item, but this Central Valley Internet Network broadband project. This is a fiber network across the state of California. It's going to come right through Sutter Creek, right down Main Street, go on to Amador City. They initially had proposed putting it on Badger, and we asked them to move it over to Main Street. And we're going to get 16 connections to the city. So this is they call the middle mile. I guess it's not a connection to homes. It's the trunk. Volcano Telecommunications is the contractor that's been hired to build this trunk. And then at some point in the future, it's an open access line. Volcano or any other internet company can come through and connect residences and businesses. So I think it's a really important feature for economic development, not just but also for residences that have great internet connectivity. So we really wanted to make sure those access points were in the city, and they are. And there's going to be several actually right around City Hall, and so the city and the high school can all leverage this as well.
Yeah, great.
Wow.
And then we started to kick off the Sierra Jobs grant that we got. Again, we got less money than we expected. There's a fair amount of administrative overhead, which we've been trying to manage as best we can. We decided it was worth taking the money, but we have kind of a crazy amount of paperwork for the amount of money we're getting, but we're trying to streamline as much as we can. And then I hope you guys have seen some of the social media marketing, really trying to pick up our game there. And I've been pretty pleased, and I hope you guys are. I think we're trying to promote events, promote businesses. As a city, we're trying to be neutral, but if there's a particular event, particularly for nonprofits and things, we are, helping promote those as well. And then on the day-to-day stuff, the Bryson Park bathrooms in design, engineering, I think is near done. Dan's reviewing that. There was a community wildfire protection plan kickoff last week. And this kind of plays into our fire item that we had. It turns out that the Amador wildfire protection plan is expired, out of date, hasn't been done in quite some time. So all the fire districts in the county and cities are working to update this plan. And it's kind of like the hazard mitigation plan. It's a plan you want to have on file that will let you apply for grants and things in the future. So we're going to participate. We also got the weed abatement letters out. I think generally the response has been positive. People have taken them seriously and been cleaning up their properties, at least the ones that have been reaching back out to us. So, and then I really haven't talked much about some of our residential development. So both Panner Creek and Sutter Creek Ranch are starting to move forward again. They're continuing to submit things to planning. And, we're working to get both of those to be complete applications. I would say Sutter Creek Ranch is closer probably than Panner Creek to being complete. And once it's deemed complete, it will go to the Planning Commission. And then based on what happens there, may or may not come to you guys.
Where are both those? Can you remind me?
What's that?
Where are those two located?
So Panner Creek is the 39 homes off of Golden Hills coming down to Church Street. And part of the challenge there is a bridge over the creek. And then Sutter Creek Ranch is the Gold Rush, 150 homes. Gold Rush is the name of the specific plan, but it's the Sutter Creek Ranch is the developer.
Will there be more details on that as far as the hurdle with ACTC and access through development?
Yeah, again, I mean, that's part of getting it to be a complete application. So we're working through those issues. I think we have a plan on the transportation. There's some grading issues we're still trying to resolve. And then the last one is complying with the affordable housing requirements. And then it'll go to planning, and there'll be a time. I mean, again, this hasn't really been a complete project yet, so it hasn't been really brought to the public. So we need to start the public process, and people can comment on it and see all the details.
Because I believe part of the conversation in the past has been around ACTC and either a lawsuit or money owed still to ACTC from the last Gold Rush development that.
Yeah, I mean, there's
has that been
a
resolved?
lot of history hanging out there. Those things have to get resolved. And again, we're consulting our city attorney, and we're kind of working through it. So, we're doing what we think the city needs to do.
Okay.
So,
Do you know, I know the gentleman that spoke here for Sutter Creek Ranch talked about, I don't know if it was part of the EIR, there'd been a tree study done, but it was 20 years ago. Do you know if that has to be updated or not?
yeah, there's going to be a lot of conditions of approval, and that's a good example where again, they have to update the trees, but they don't have to do it up front. Like we'll say, your project can go to the planning commission, and one of the conditions for getting your permit is going to be updating the tree study.
Okay. So, but does the EIR is still valid that they did before?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Also, just want to let you guys know, so Frank Whitmore is now our city engineer. He works with Matt Hospital. Matt is still around and finishing up projects, but they've been getting busy, and Frank's been working on a lot of our projects. So I think it's a good opportunity for him. And, he's very responsive and available to us. And then finally, I want to say we are still recruiting for a police officer position. So let your friends and family know. And a few pictures here from the Ragtime Festival. I think it was a great event. A lot of people came into town that weekend. Coming up, the Fireman's Ball. We have the last summer concert is going to be here in Mini Provost Park on September 5th. Feast at the Foundry on the 20th. And then we really kick into gear with a bunch of events in October. The Scarecrow Festival is coming back, the decorating contest, the car show, and the Witches Walk is really expanding. Main Street's going to be closed for that event, and we're expecting kind of a bigger crowd this year. And then in upcoming agendas, got Labor Day on September 1st, so the council meeting is on September 2nd, Tuesday. Don't forget, mark your calendars. We're going to be going over the retention policy and hopefully the impact fees and possibly a trench ordinance. And then on the 15th, we're targeting the wastewater treatment contract. That's probably going to be the main focus of the meeting. May or may not include the Nexus study. And then other things coming up are quarterly financial update, looking at a plan for planting trees, short-term rental update. Once we have the Nexus study, we also be coming back to you to look at the levels of the impact fees themselves. And And then I said potentially this development. And we will have the outcome and the weed abatement if anybody needs to be leaned for abatement. And we talked about during the budget, putting in place a budget reserve policy. So we should be bringing that back fairly soon.
I had a question about the weed abatement stuff. Has anyone ever looked into maybe trying to control the weeds like on the side of the bypass and all that land that's not, it's like outside of the fence from the land trust, but there's quite a bit of fuel there.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the county, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, the fire chiefs told me the land trust is interested in doing stuff. Again, the county doesn't seem to enforce it, but I think we'll keep talking to them and really it's the fire district that's been taking the lead on that.
Okay, great, thanks.
So. Do you want to come up to the mic?
Hello, everyone. I spoke with Dominic. We were discussing weed abatement inspections for any additional parcels. And he said that he got the okay from the Motherlode Trust to do a fire break above California, which has been kind of an issue in the past. So I don't know outside of city limits other than above California, but he finally got that okay. So I think they're going to start that pretty soon. And if I can just add, I did receive pretty good feedback from parcel owners that did get back to me. I think there's about 6 where I received a receipt from the certified mail, but no contact yet. So the deadline's coming up the 25th. We've had some like positive and like forward movement on some of that weed abatement. The Eureka parcel, which is like 20 acres. He did huge fire break all the way around the property. And I went around on a Polaris and saw it. So yeah, things are moving pretty good. So any questions on weed abatement?
Has anybody contacted you? You know, you're working with them and just asked for some time or grace or.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of the thing we wanted to emphasize is that as long as they're working with us, you know, there's a little bit of wiggle room on deadlines and like a couple people have contacted me and they've maybe become ill or unable to find anyone locally. So, but just getting in contact with someone at the city that's working on it, they feel pretty good. And it's funny, they do contact. I feel like they're ready to argue when they first call and just let them know we're just here to make sure we're safe. So, but yeah, I think it's going
How
pretty
has
well.
the response been from out-of-town landowners and the property that might be affected?
So I've received a couple. I think it's kind of a panic because we sent out both letters at the same time, and it was just because it's very time sensitive and we're in fire season now. But it's been pretty positive, and I mean them calling me and talking to me and Tom having me manage the project. It does. I mean, I know what I'm talking about when I'm not there to argue. I'm only here to try and
Get
you
it
know,
done.
mitigate any potential issues. So I think everyone's when they do finally talk to, because I've received like, you know, several voicemails where they are upset, you know, and then I call them back and I'm like, oh, it's a person. So, you know, I think, yeah, it's a positive outcome once I've spoken to them.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Thank you, Matt.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's a lot. That was a great report.
Could I just say too, in terms of the police thing, if you're on LinkedIn, if you could reshare the city posting on your feed into your network, the police officer posting that we posted on LinkedIn, we'd really appreciate that. Yeah, it's under the city.
Council, any questions for Tom?
No, but I agree with you. There's a lot going on. So.
Well, when we only have one meeting a month,
Yeah.
it's a lot more stuff.
I
happening.
know, boy, oh boy.
Makes you look
It's
good.
going to be a,
Exactly.
All right, item 6, the approval of minutes from July 21st. Check the spelling on Larry McKinney. I think it's with an I.
oh, from the water agency. Mhm.
Any comments or edits from anyone?
I move that we approve the minutes from July 21st with the checking of the spelling of Mr. McKinney's name.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our consent agenda, the information report from
I
the,
have to abstain on that vote. I wasn't here for that meeting,
oh, sorry, Dan.
just to get that on the record.
Got that, Aaron?
Thanks, Aaron.
Consent agenda, the information report from the Highway 49 relinquishment funds. Anybody want to discuss that at all?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. First of all, I'd like to compliment Maeve for the job that she did on that, and it was very much appreciated. And I know just in your report previously, you talked about the updating or our reserve policy, which is, I think, is a great idea. And I just think going through that that information report on the relinquishment money, it just got me thinking that we're on a similar path right now using reserve funds to balance the current budget. And I just want everybody to keep in mind that we can't do that long term. It's not sustainable. I have hope that maybe our revenues will come in above what's projected. But if there's anywhere that we can make cuts or savings in the budget, we need to be looking at that all the time and think about that we can't continue on a path of using reserves for day-to-day operations. It's one thing to use them on a capital improvement or emergency, but if you're using them to make payroll, you just can't do that. And that's what happened to a lot of that relinquishment money previously. That's all I want to comment about.
Jim, I want to concur. Appreciate your comments very much. And I think that the setting those, limits on the reserves is a really important step. And I look forward to that being on the agenda along with some guidance about how to make that work. Because as we see through the rest of this evening, again, this year's budget, as Jim indicated, being balanced only through reserves, it is not sustainable. And we gotta figure this out. That's our job. We can't just keep expanding payroll. I mean, we want to. Everybody's doing good work. I mean, I'm pleased with all the work that's going on, but the payroll is outpacing the revenue, and that's a problem.
No, I just want to say, yeah, Jim, for bringing it up, and for Dan. I think when we were talking about economic development, I think there's the flip side of the coin. I mean, we could try to, develop the income, and bring in money, but being a tourist-based community is sometimes a false hope that when the funds aren't there, the revenue isn't there. Looking back from last year to this year on Mason's financial report, we're not having the income that we did just a year ago. And so when our income from 12 months ago is reduced and our overhead is increasing, there's got to be a point where I think we need to put on some brakes somewhere. And I think some brakes somewhere, those relative terms, have got to come out in the open and discuss quickly.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing less revenue. I think again, again, it comes in kind of lumpy fashion, right? And so far at least, the payments that have come in,
I'm even looking at like the development fees. We didn't, I mean, it was almost half of what we had last year for 2024.
I mean, we just started this year, right? But like
So-
sales tax and the big property tax, again, there's usually like a catch-up payment that's the large payment, quarterly for sales tax. And so again, I haven't seen that yet. I definitely will. I'm looking for it. So
I'm just, and again, that's just a summarized statement from what I read in Mason's report in the packet. So, and just trying to forecast, I mean, no one could forecast the future, but economics are shaky right now. So the sooner, I think, the better. We come to grips with this.
yeah, and again, I really wanted to, because it's come up so many times, it's the relinquishment fund. And again, it looks like it started to get spent almost immediately, initially as loans and then under Rob Duke. And then I think Sean Rabe really wanted to clean it up and said, look, we can't pay back these loans. And so that's where they just kind of transitioned them. But I think it's important we all understand kind of what happened there.
And that really was appreciated. I mean,
Yeah.
I had vague memories, but that really made it crystallized, it made it clear.
One of the repercussions of that, sitting with the ACTC commissioners, they have a real hard time wanting to fund anything that has to do with Main Street or anything like that, because they keep thinking back, well, wait a minute, you got $3 million to do that. What did you do with it? And, albeit that was 20 years ago or whatever, and those decisions were made. And so we keep trying to beg for mercy. I mean, how long are we going to be punished for that? But it's an issue. It's an issue for funding, not for all the streets within Sutter Creek, but on Main Street in particular.
It's
think
probably
it's good we have it on the public record what exactly happened and that we all
Absolutely.
comprehend.
I think that's,
Well, it was always been public, but it's good that I think, have it summarized and reviewed again.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like there was anything done nefariously as far as I'm concerned, but
No, that's not what I
Right.
mean. I just
Yeah.
mean this, it's good I
get this
appreciate
out in the public.
summary.
Yeah, I agree.
It was well done and definitely a worthwhile exercise.
yeah.
Okay, that was just for our review. We have a big administrative agenda. We'll start with item A, the solar panel procurement.
Sorry, you still need to vote on the consent agenda. I know it was review.
Yeah, it's just an information report, but I guess you should vote to accept the report.
Oh,
Is that necessary? But
It says for reviews, so there's it's not an action
A
item.
consent item.
Not that I mind.
Yeah.
You approve a consent item. I don't know.
You can, I mean, you can take you can make a motion that says you've accepted the review that's provided.
so moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 9A, solar panels.
Yeah, so I don't have I don't have a presentation or anything. Hopefully the report was clear. There's a fairly significant amount of money available both through a PG&E grant program as well as incentive tax credits. And again, we're a city, we don't pay tax, but they created this incentive tax program that would actually give cities back 30% of the expense. So we get the credit even though we don't pay the tax. But the timeline with the new federal budget and bill expires pretty rapidly. So we would actually need to put in a initial order for 5% of the value of the project by September 9th, so this is like really the last meeting to decide on some of this stuff. And in the report, you probably saw solar and batteries are handled differently. They have different timelines, and the amount of the credit as well as the amount of the component that needs to be manufactured in the U.S. starts to change after January 1st. So we're asking though, even though we're working on the agreement for the wastewater plant, to go ahead and submit for some of these things to hold our place in line to get as much money back as possible. And then Moses Bakara from Schneider Electric is actually on Zoom tonight. He's there to answer questions. So if you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
I think it makes a lot of sense. The one question I had isn't for Moses, but maybe for Derek or Tom. The fallback of selling these if they're the wrong component or, something else were to happen, makes a lot of sense. Maybe we can even make some money on it. But is that an issue? Are we able to do that? Can we vend to?
I assume so. I mean, we've had other things. We've bought pipe, Public Works that we either return or resell.
You can okay.
Yeah.
Is there an issue with the timeline? I mean, does the new wastewater plant have to begin construction before the grant is administered? Or does it have to be completed? Does it have to be?
I don't think the whole
approved?
plant does. I think the solar piece might have to be built first or built separate. That the timelines can be separate. So I think the solar panels have to be done in sometime in 2027.
So given that we haven't come to an agreement or a contract with a potential new construction, is there going to be an issue of meeting those deadlines in order to meet the requirements of getting the grant?
I mean, we don't think so, but that's what Claire was asking. So if things fell apart and nothing happened,
Okay.
we had to buy 5% of the solar panels. We don't have to buy like all of it. What would we do? So we could either look at another solar project and put them on the auditorium. We could try to just sell them or return them. With the PG&E program, which is a credit, pretty substantial credit, they will evaluate our application, and if they accept it, then we have to put down a deposit. And I think I forget the dollar amount. It's not a large amount, but that money would be at risk. We would basically lose that if we didn't go through with it. So that's the downside risk, the upside.
We're not at that point yet, though, on that, is it? Or is that?
Well, no, but the clock will start pretty quickly.
Right,
And again,
okay.
it's first come, first serve. This money, everybody's trying to get their stuff
Okay.
in.
Because there's no credit.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that we can use any of the solar power? Will it all be gobbled up by the plant, or could we use it for other city?
I mean, we can't really run our own transmission lines, so it's going to be over there.
Will the cost or the purchase of the solar panels, where will that come from to begin with?
The wastewater reserves, capital reserve.
And we have that is available.
Yep.
The funding is available.
And how dire do you think the concern about how risky is it that we're going to have a crisis on solar supply with the new regulations?
Well, so again, if we do this now, it's the old rule.
Yeah, no, I get that. But
So-
if we didn't do it,
Yeah,
you
again,
research
the percentage of kind of made in the US goes up, and I think there's some question about whether they'll even be available. Like,
So it's availability and its cost. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's manufacturing, like they'd have to
Right.
set up factories and make these things.
right.
one, then it's obvious. But if there's no supply, we might be faced with a huge cost
But-
increase.
But even if it happens, I guess the feeling is the cost will be higher, right? I mean, I'd prefer to buy US made products, but I also want to get our wastewater plant done.
Right.
What's the deadline timeline on making a final decision? Because I see where there's going to be discussion today on interpreting the new law for solar.
Yeah, I mean, there's some more details on some of the dates and things that are supposed to be coming down.
I think he just said, Julia, September 9th, we'd have to have the order in. So
Okay.
this would
Right.
be the meeting that we
Okay,
have.
I'm just
we have to
concerned
decide.
because according to this, today, the US Treasury is making a discussion or trying to come up with some interpretation of the laws and how
Right.
applications are going to be made.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with like again, what is like you asked, what does it mean that the project's complete and some of these other details.
I had a similar question, and it had to do with just, there's a lot of financial, analysis that you had to do, Tom, and your team to determine what does all this really mean. And I was wondering, Derek, if you had had a chance to review any of this from a legal perspective, and if so, what is your comfort level with our interpretation and our moving forward?
I'm in support. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I have
Fair
been
enough.
working with our staff and
Yeah.
Tom on this, so
Great.
I'm in full support.
Great, I appreciate it.
I don't know, Moses, can you add anything else about the August 18th?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you can all hear me well.
Yes.
All right, yes. So good afternoon, City of Sutter Creek and council members, Mrs. Mayor. So to answer some of the questions here, the September 9th is due to the supply chain because the law right now where it is, the panels, or at least what's so-called safe harbor, which is 5% of the project cost, it needs to be transferred to the city's ownership. So that's where that September 9th date coming from, which is really, it's constrained by the supply chain. As you can imagine, all of these, now everybody's going after solar panels at the same time, and how this will affect supply chain deliveries and timelines and all of this. So the goal is to have all of these solar panels before end of the year. And also the Treasury has issued some clarification on some areas, which is really defining what it means, the construction completion date. So far, any project that starts before July 4th, 2026, will be entitled to the incentives, or will be eligible to go and apply for those incentives amounts. However, the trick is beyond January 1st, 2026, if the solar panels are not FEOC compliant, therefore this eligibility will be probably reduced, or maybe you're not eligible anymore. And the problem is, as we speak, it's very in a gray area what that FEOC requirements are, will be. There's no specific guidelines about it yet. So the industry is still trying to figure itself out. I'm happy to receive any questions.
Thank you, Moses. Did that answer what you were bringing up, Julia, Dan?
So the new wastewater treatment plant doesn't have to be completed by July 4th, 2026?
No.
It just has to be, but it has 4 years to be completed. It just has to start by July 4th.
Right.
So the 4 years then to complete the plant is within.
So again, I believe it's 4 years to complete the solar and battery storage systems,
Okay.
but not 100% sure.
And then excuse me, if there is any delay or problem with the sewer plant moving forward, how is it like is it the same amount? Would it be a good ad for City Hall or the auditorium? We don't have any solar now.
We don't have any solar now.
So that it could be repurposed for that if there were to be a
It
problem.
could be, I mean, again, we've sized it for the wastewater plant. And again, this is to shave the peak load. So it'd be like every afternoon, the batteries would kick in. We would still need a generator if there was an extended power outage. That's part of the plan.
That seems like a good idea to me. I'm all in favor of it.
How about public comment before we?
Or
Just in
are we
case.
done? Would anyone in the public care to comment?
And I'll concur with Dan.
Is that a motion from either of you?
You need a motion to approve this purchase? I would so move.
We need to authorize Tom to apply for it, so a motion would be best. Dan's made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, B, direction on Broadway Street. I see Mr. Ryan's here from the Special Tax Committee.
Yep. So maybe just tee it up. Like I said, the oversight committee met at 5 o'clock. I'll let Martin describe that. But again, I think, the staff's recommendation is to move forward. As we discussed with the oversight committee, we feel like this was actually what Measure P was for. It's hard infrastructure. It's letting us complete repairs under the street before we pave it, so that we're not going to tear it up. I mean, we discovered that the storm drain has kind of failed, and that was not budgeted. So, there's this extra 50,000. About half of that is for a new storm drain pipe. Half of it's for asphalt to pave the whole road. And the flip side is we're getting benefits from AWA. They're going to pave Hayden Alley for us this year. And that was like 3 years from now in our CIP. So we just wanted to come to you guys. We think this is opportunistic. Broadway was not on our list as a high priority street. But the storm drains have issues. The sidewalk is a tripping hazard. So I guess the last thing I'll say is the oversight committee really recommended that we market and advertise this. Like, this project is funded by your Measure P funds with signs and really communicating that that's why this project is happening. So I don't know, Martin, do you want to add anything?
Good evening. Fortunately, it was a very short meeting because Tom and Aaron and Dan brought us a lot of information ahead of time, let us digest it, discuss it, and we're able to come to a unanimous decision. We had two that had to stream in. Two of us were here, and then one was on a grandbaby birthday party, so I couldn't make it. But it sounds like a great project with regards to measure and how the funds are supposed to be applied. This is definitely a good project. It's early, I understand that, but it's a project you can accomplish and show an accomplishment early on in the process, rather than waiting 3-4 years before you get enough for a big project. And again, the recommendation came forward to advertise it. Every politician in the world has their sign up at a project. And I think it's a good idea for the city to see that Measure P funds in conjunction with the city and in conjunction with AWA is making this stuff happen, and they can see it right away. So I thank Tom, I thank Aaron, I thank Dan for the input they provided at that meeting. Like I said, it was a good, quick meeting. It was not a tough choice because of the type of project that was brought to us. And we very much appreciate the opportunity for input. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question, not about the use of the funds. I agree, and I would only add that when we did the polling and everything for Measure P, we had included the idea of having the ability to do things all at once, and that's exactly what this is, and that pulled very high. But did want to know the storm drain part of it, the manhole part of it. How much of that will affect I&I? Or will it? Is this an I&I related thing or no?
No, not really.
No.
Sorry.
Just always hoping.
No, yeah.
Every time we do something.
At least we don't
takes that a
think.
chink down.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, if you could potentially discover maybe somebody tied in that they.
I mean, that water could have gone somewhere, that could have gone into a drain, that could have gone to the collection system eventually, but yeah, it's more of just a storm drainage.
Worth a shot.
Yeah.
Council, any other questions on this or comments?
No, it seems like a good idea to me.
Anyone in the public? Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we give Tom direction on the budget amendment for the Broadway Street project with access to the Measure P funds as detailed in the measure. That's too many words.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. C, D, and E are the MOUs for the two unions and the salary schedule. I discussed with Tom if staff could present all of those, we could have our discussion on all of those. The public could comment on all of them, and then we can vote all at once. It seems to make sense because a lot of the reports are the same. Is that okay with you guys, or did you want to take them separately, the two contracts and the salaries?
I like your idea.
Okay, that work for everybody else?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Tom, if you wanted to run
Yeah.
through CDE.
Yeah, I mean, it's more for the public maybe than you guys, but we've had a series of closed sessions where we talked about our labor union agreements. Council authorized a certain negotiating authority. I worked with David Ritchie, who's our employment attorney, and we met with the union representatives, kind of worked through a bunch of issues. So these MOUs represent the output of that work, which basically council approved in closed session, and now this is really an opportunity for the public to see. And yeah, we would have brought it to you as one item, but there's like 3 separate resolutions, so we presented them as 3 items. But and I guess just a little bit more, we definitely benchmarked our compensation against similar sized cities as well as cities near us for both SEIU and the Police Officers Association. We had a lot of discussion about, we are a small town, we were revenue challenged, but there's also the reality of the marketplace and what potential employees can make. And, so we tried to balance those things. There are COLAs or, basically inflationary driven cost of living increases. In terms of benefits, we have a cafeteria benefit plan, which gives employees a lot of flexibility, but over time, the medical costs have been rising faster than the benefit they receive from the city. So again, we're sharing the cost of medical benefits, but in both agreements, we raised the amount that the city will pay into that benefit pool. And then some of the bigger things for the city is we really asked for a contribution from the employees into their pension plan. So under state law, new employees under what's called PEPRA have to pay 50% of their pension costs, but the employees that are under what's called the classic plan pay much less. And so tied to the raises, COLA increases, was an agreement for the classic employees to contribute more into pensions. And over time, that will help bring down kind of the city's pension costs as well as the unfunded liability costs. So we also made some smaller changes to the way things like uniforms are handled to make those not part of the pension compensation. And there were some smaller details. So, with your approval, these will be posted on our website publicly. The pay scales are a result of the MOUs themselves. And that I will stop and answer any questions or comments.
I had an observation in I'm going to call them warrants. They don't really look like warrants anymore, but the payables in this, we paid Cole Huber 15,000 this period, which is more than we usually do. I'm wondering if that was part of, all of the union agreements. I'm assuming it is because we spent a lot of time with Dave Ritchie. And if that's the case, then I feel even better about the fact that we made 3-year agreements because it's a lengthy and expensive process every time we do this.
Yeah, and that's another good point. We've been doing 1-year agreements. It's kind of almost the same effort to do 3 years as 1 year. So both unions are 3-year agreements. We won't have to do this again until 2028, I guess, or July of 2027.
My only comment would be that it's an arduous process for this the city, the representatives from our unions, and just want to say thank you for sticking with it. I think we came out with a fair agreement, and I hope all parties involved are satisfied. I want to thank our police officers and our SEIU members for their cooperation in getting this done.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Once again, I concur 100%.
Any other discussion? Public? Okay. Can we make one motion to approve all 3 resolutions?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Aye, sorry. Before we move on to our final reports, the insurance presentation is in the information and correspondence. So I sort of digested it and had some questions I could shoot you guys back offline probably. Is this
But we
is
could
this
go to
what
the-
when I had brought this up at a couple meetings ago, I think it was, is this the result of that? Is this, okay.
Yeah, but why don't we finish the next item and then when we go to information, that's a perfect time to talk about it.
I feel like these are usually how we end the meeting.
I mean, we have the Cal Cities item and then,
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
F, appointing the delegates for Cal Cities. Looks like in the staff report, we usually appoint Tom unless anybody thinks they can go to the conference.
I mean, I would encourage you guys to go. It's the big annual conference. If anybody wants to drive down to Long Beach or take Southwest, but you know, it's quite a big exhibit hall. There's a lot of good sessions. But if none of the council members will go, you know, I'm planning to go.
I would love to, but I can't travel in fall.
I
Anybody
could
else?
look, I could look at my calendar. All depends as on how the next couple of weeks go. So
Yeah, I would possibly be interested in going.
So you could appoint Julia and Susan as a backup and me as a third backup. Then we'll just have it
we got your
covered.
back.
Well, would we want to appoint you and Julie and Susan would be the backup or would
I
we?
would appoint the
Yeah.
council members first.
Would you still be going though?
We'll decide based on who's going to go, I guess.
Okay.
But you would be the primary.
I'm
voting-
suggesting you guys be the primary, but if the primary can't go, then the secondary or third.
So you would
person.
choose to be the secondary in this instance?
I was suggesting whatever order, first, second, third. Just because you guys don't know if you're going to go for sure, but I would rather you be the primary if you're going to go.
I'll know in about 10 days.
Did you want to hold on this then? or-
Again, why don't you just, if the
Yeah.
primary can't go, it's not a big deal. So-
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So it sounds like what he's suggesting, if somebody wants to make the motion, is we appoint Julia uh, as vice mayor. Susan is the secondary person, and then Tom third. In the likely case that neither of you could go, Tom would be able to go and vote for us.
I'll make that a motion just as you stated it.
Okay?
And I'll,
Good.
and I'll second that move.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Sorry for trying
Yeah.
to jump the gun earlier.
So the RMA, yeah, is here because you guys asked him, and we can definitely talk about it. I think the thought was we'd provide the information. If you wanted more, they are willing to come and present and answer questions, but we thought we'd try this first and see if it answered questions.
And they offered to come, if we want them to come do a presentation in person.
I just had, I had one question, and I don't know if anybody on staff can answer this or anyone. But on the combining statement of net position, on their, I guess it's page 78 of our packet. There was an item under liabilities called due to members, and it's $20,000. And I have no idea what that is, and I wondered if anybody else did.
Which page?
In the packet, 78, section 13, item A in their presentation.
Is it near the end?
It's a statement of net position. There's a couple of pages that look like financial reports.
Yep.
On that first page, 3/4 of the way down, under liabilities.
Yeah, the $20 million.
Yeah,
Um,
due to members. And I tried to figure it out, but I couldn't figure it out.
yeah, I'm not exactly sure on this balance statement. Again, this is a pool, a self-insurance pool.
Yeah,
So people have paid this money and they track each city by the number of claims they make and they adjust your
Right.
annual up and down. And so I think this is like the total amount of contributions they have.
that are liquid right now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that,
The more interesting one's probably the Sutter Creek
yeah,
specific.
how they stack up against others.
And that's based on our history of how many workers' comp claims we've had, how many vehicle crashes.
Exactly.
And we're pretty much right in the middle, right average.
Yeah, we're very average about.
On page 19 of their presentation, the employment practices liability, Sutter Creek currently does not participate in this program. What does employment, is that our hiring practices or what is employment practices liability? 19 of their presentation, 64 of the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, they offer a lot of coverages and we definitely don't take them all. I'm not 100, we do the training, the sexual harassment and ethics,
Right, we do all those things, I think.
but we don't get the coverage. So, I mean, sounds like HR related insurance coverage, but
But we have employee liability coverage. This is different.
do you know?
Yeah, so this training, they provide the training. Our training that we do for sexual harassment prevention and ethics, we don't do through them. We do like free or like a very small cost to us. So this like is more for like professional, trying to explain it, but like
Like a school district or?
Yeah, basically like the professional elements of of what we do. We don't take this liability coverage at the moment because we cover those things ourselves through other
Gotcha.
means,
Okay.
basically.
I think I'm comfortable sitting down with Aaron or Mason sometime and just going over,
Yeah, I would. love
making
to
sure I understand
background
this.
it.
And I appreciate you putting this in there. And then after that conversation, I withhold the right to ask for more.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
And like I said, they are willing to come out here. Somebody from their workers' comp
Sure.
came out and did a training with us 2 weeks ago. It was really helpful.
Cool.
Well, I'll take a stab at you guys first.
I will say I've talked to other city managers. Everybody's in a risk management pool.
Yeah.
Some are quite small. I think this is a good one from what I can tell. It seems to be large enough and well run.
Yeah.
It seems very much like the way to go. And I don't think my questions are as much whether or not we should do a pool, as, you know, when we make our policy decisions for the city, I think we need to better understand what the city's liability is
Yep.
for
My que-
projects, for
my question
actions.
was, yeah, are we in the right pool? Like, should we switch? And I think
Sure.
we're in a good one. So.
Okay, so, again, I'd like to sometimes sit down with you guys, and you're always so accessible and available. And it sounds like Mason might come out from underwater soon, and maybe we could do that. That work for the rest of you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure does.
Okay,
Thank you.
so, but that's at the end, information and correspondence. So let's go back to mayor and council member reports. Dan,
I don't think I have anything.
Julia,
Nope.
Jim,
Fire district meeting tomorrow. Other than that, no, I don't.
Susan,
No.
city attorney's report?
You let me know and I'd love to have dinner, lunch, whatever, you're there.
Great. Future agenda items? Susan?
No, I'm gonna go back though. I think I probably should have reported that the Tourism Council is doing a lot of great work, and then the Heritage Wine District has collected their first 2 quarters of revenue, so they're gonna have a significant increase in marketing dollars.
Cool.
No future agenda. item.
Jim?
No.
Julia?
I'd like some discussion at council level on how we can address or work with the family that had the palace, Sutter Creek, and the fencing, and how we can somewhat disguise or better cover, make it somewhat better appearing, in talking with, when is he? No, from the visitor center.
So I have an update on that.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so actually,
It's just still remains an eyesore, and I'd like to be able to move forward and open up some other possibilities.
yeah, so I
We're talking
spoke to
about
Jay
this.
today. He's going to get an estimate for what a slatted fence would cost.
Okay.
So he was open to it. He says, you know, he agreed it's probably going to be 18 more months before, you know, get a project approved and built. So it's going to be there quite a long time. So he's looking into that. I also told him about the visitor center idea, and he's also open to getting some images and things of,
And they've already agreed to set aside, I believe, I want to say $500 towards putting up, you know, historical photos
Yeah.
of that site.
so it sounds like everybody wants to get something done. So the next step is basically for him to see what it's going to cost and if he can cover it or not.
But I like the photo idea, you know, being
Yep.
able to put up, I don't know what the expense would be, but visitor center is willing to put some money up front to help cover
Yeah,
for that.
I'd really like to do it before all these fall events start. Like,
Exactly.
At least the
Yep.
fence.
Exactly. Imagine all those witches trying to get over the fence.
It is kind of creepy.
Into the
Yeah.
building.
They painted the building across the street. Did you see that? Looks great.
Back roads, yeah.
The back roads, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Dan, agenda item?
No, thank you.
Okay. Information and correspondence? Any questions or comments on that? I had a couple. Mason's not here, but it looks like he sort of changed the format of the financial reports. But I was still hoping for more indication on some of these things of what exactly it is and what it comes out of. I could throw a couple examples out. The payment to the California Department of Tax. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the Measure P implementation.
It does.
Is
Yep.
that the total cost, or
Yeah, it's like an administrative fee.
$2,800 is way better than we at one point anticipated. Keegan and Associates is the audit, right?
No,
That's health insurance.
right.
See? Okay, so stuff like that. PG&E, I really did like it when we could see the buildings
detail.
in the areas for PG&E and water to see where it's costing us. When we're irrigating, it's nice to see the parks. Oftentimes, that's how we figure out there's a leak somewhere.
Thatcher Company, is that on that same page as PG&E?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Thatcher Company, is that?
Thatcher. So
That's for chemicals for the wastewater plant.
And in the past reports, and I know that they were little print and a lot of pages, but those would have been, these questions would have been answered by that kind of format. So I don't know if it's possible to return to
yeah,
something.
I'll let Mason know.
Yeah.
The Brit Global for $4,000. What was that?
I think it's Public Works, so.
Is 4,000 even? Hmm?
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Cole Huber, I brought that up. I'm assuming that's Dave Ritchie mostly and all the legal work we did for the contracts. And then also on Weatherby Reynolds and Weber Geo, the old reports, and I'm just making comparisons. It was nice to know in those you could look and see which of the things were reimbursable. So if this could be somehow categorized as reimbursable or not. And maybe it's not in the warrants, maybe it's in another report and I'm not seeing it, but those are just my comments.
Well put.
Now we know you guys actually looked at those reports, so that's good.
We do, although the last one, I
It's just the
didn't
big
even bother
numbers.
anymore. It was that one long list of cash.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we know that.
yeah, we got it. And
Yeah. Right, that's why we're bringing these things up so they can be tweaked.
yeah, I think we're in the process of that. This is a tweak of last time we got them. So I was just giving my next feedback. And I think that's what Mason wanted us to do. Anybody else? Okay, if that's a wrap, then we're gonna what into closed session? We're going to convene in closed session after a 10-minute recess.
Right. Thank you, guys.